Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se Gaur Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Samkund Radha Kund Giridhardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Today's class is Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.26. So Canto 6, Chapter 1, Verse 26, recorded May 26, 1976 in Honolulu.
So, Srimad Bhagavatam, 6 Canto, first chapter, text number 26. Bunjana Prativam Khadam Bunjana Prativam Khadam Balakam Sneha Jantita Balakam Sneha Jantita Bhojayam Papayam Mura Bhojayam Papayam Mura Na Vida Agatam Antakam Navida Agatam Antakam Bhunjana Purvam Khadam Balakam Snehajantita Bhojam Papayana Mura Navida Agatamantakam. So, this is the general way of life. Everyone is engaged in this material activities, and the basic principle of material activity is grihastha, family life. Family life, according to Vedic system or anywhere, is a responsible life to maintain the wife, children. Everyone is engaged. They think this is the only duty. to maintain the family, that is my duty. As comfortably as possible, that is my duty. One does not think that this kind of duty is performed even by animals. They have got also children and they feel but is the difference. Therefore here the word used mura. Mura means ass. One who is engaged in such duties. Bhunjana pravivan khadam. Prapivan. Pivan means drinking and bhujana means eating. While eating, while drinking, khadam, while chewing, chabbatasya rajyapeya. There are 4 kinds of it. Sometimes we chew, sometimes we lick up, sometimes we swallow, and sometimes we drink. So there are 4 kinds of food stuff. Therefore we sing Chaturvidha Sri Bhagavat Prasad. Chaturvidha means 4 kinds. So we offer to the deity so many food stuff within these 4 categories. Something is chewed, something is licked up, somebody swallowed, in that way. So bhunjana prapivam khadam balakam srahajanti. The father and mother takes care of the children, how to give them food stuff. We have seen Mother Yashoda is feeding Krishna. Same thing. This is the difference. We are feeding ordinary child, which is done by cats and dogs also. But Mother Yashoda is feeding Krishna. The same process. The process, there is no difference, but one is the Krishna center and the other is whimsical center. That is the difference. When it is Krishna center, then it is spiritual. And when it is whimsical center, then it is material. There is no difference between materials. This is the difference. There is just like lusty desires and love, pure love. So what is the difference between lusty desires and pure love? Here we are mixing man and woman, mixing with lusty desires. And Krishna is also mixing with the gopis. Superficially they look the same thing. So where is the difference? So this difference has been explained by the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So what is the difference between lusty desire and love? That has been explained. He has said, Atmendriya Tripti Vancha Taranam Kam. When I want to satisfy my senses, that is calm. Krishnendriya Triptivancha Dhari Premna. And when we want to satisfy the senses of Krishna, then it is love, prem. That is the difference. Here, in this material world, there is no love, because the man or woman, they have no idea that I mix with the man will satisfy his desire with me. No, I will satisfy my desire. This is the basic principle. The man is thinking that mixing with this woman, I will satisfy my sense desire. And the woman is thinking that by mixing with this man, I shall satisfy mine. Yeah. Therefore, it is very prominent in the Western country. As soon as there is difficulty in personal sense gratification, immediately divorce. This is the psychological. Why so many divorces in this country? The root cause is that as soon as I don't find satisfaction, then I don't want. That is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Dampattam ratimevahi. And in this age, husband and wife means sex satisfaction, personal. There is no question of that we shall live together, we shall satisfy Krishna by being trained up how to satisfy Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness movement. Don't do anything for your personal sense gratification. Do everything for Krishna's sense gratification. That's why the gopis, they used to go to Krishna. These gopis, they were married. Because in India, 12 years, 13 years girls are married. Still, I've told many incidences. So, from childhood, they are friends, small children. But the girls are married early, so they go to their husband's place, 13, 14 years. But because they prayed the Katyayani when they are not married, they pray to Katyayani that Krishna is so beautiful, please give me Krishna as my husband. Krishna is all attractive. So Krishna fulfills their desire, and that is Vastraharam. Of course, these things are not publicly discussed, but still you are little interested in Krishna. So all the gopis, girls, before they are married, they prayed to Katyayani that give me Krishna as my husband. So Krishna, it was not possible socially. Krishna made such a plan that he accepted every one of them as his wife. And that is Vastraharan Lila. Vastraharan Lila, the girls were taking bath in the Jamuna, keeping their clothing, garments on the shore. Still in India, especially in Punjab, the practice is that when the women take bath, strictly no man can go there because they put their clothing on the shore and they dip into the water naked. So this was being done and Krishna took their clothing and got up on the tree. So they begged Krishna, their friends, Krishna, this is very bad. Why you have taken our no, you break the clothes with folded hands, then answer. So, you have read this story, you will not require. But the idea is that you wanted me, all of you, as your husband. Now I am fulfilling your desire. I am seeing you naked. Because a woman can be naked only before the husband. Nowhere else. This is chastity. A woman cannot be naked anywhere else, just like in the class naked dance. This is small above. A woman can be naked only before the husband. That will be explained. He was Brahman, he was well trained as a Brahmana, but one day while he was coming home with the ingredients of worshipping the deity, he saw one Shudra embracing another Shudra girl, embracing, kissing, because they have no same, no Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya will do that. It is not etiquette. But because the Shudra, now it is everywhere we can see. This embracing, kissing, open to everyone. So a young man, seeing this, how he can restrain, check his lusty desire? It is not possible. The Kali Yuga is so fallen. If a young man sees another young man is enjoying with another young girl, then naturally his lusty desires increases. So these things are forbidden, therefore. Still, in some places it is forbidden. That you cannot, India is strictly forbidden. There is no such thing. In the public street, a young man can embrace or kiss. No. That is not possible. Then it will be criminal. Neither a young boy can dare to speak with another young man on the street. Still, it is criminal. She will again immediately protest. That is incivility. So, the whole civilization is how to restrict the sex desire. Because, why restriction? Because this sex desire and sex life will keep him within this material world in different bodies. Either as human being, or as animal, or as bird, or as insect. So long there will be this sex desire. To become free, to become liberated means to become liberated from sex desire. That's all. This is the basic principle. Not that this Tantra Yoga, how to increase sex desires. This is not civilization. No. Civilization is how to cut down sex desire and ultimately become free, Paramahansa. That is civilization according to Vedic culture. Therefore the training from the very beginning, brahmacharya. And brahmachari is instructed in such a way that remain brahmachari throughout the whole life. A brahmachari is open to accept either as grihasthashram or vanaprasthashram or sannyasashram, but the Guru advises better remain all through brahmachari. No others. So he is trained properly, but still, if he has desire, then he is allowed to become a grihastha. That is also for a limited time. The whole plan is how to stop. Because as soon as here, that Ajami, he was not properly married, he became the husband of a prostitute, but there are 10 children, but he is entangled with the family, with children, and now he is engaged. Bhanjana, Prapivam, Khadam, Balakam, Snehajantika, one after another. First of all, sex desire. Pumsam sriyami thuni bhavameta. This whole, what is this world? Material world. The material world means sex desire. That's all. The woman is hunting after man and the man is hunting after woman. Either in the human society or bird society or beast society or dog society or cat society, the principle is sex. And the human society means to understand this, that what is the basic principle of material life. If you understand this sex, therefore we have to cut down the sex desire gradually by becoming brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. This is the process. Otherwise, if I do not know what is the cause of my material bondage, then how we can take remedy? This is the cause. Pumsam sriyami nibhavame tat. The desire is there. As soon as one is grown up, reaching youthful time, the sex desire is very strong. Very strong. So they unite. A man, a boy finds out a girl finds out a boy. That is, they unite and there is sex. And as soon as there is sex, then there is bondage. Immediately. Pumsam sriyami sunibhavami tat tayor mitham. As soon as they unite, then the relation becomes very tight, very strong. Then, as soon as one is married or unmarried, generally speaking married, then he wants apartment. Atha griha means apartment. So long he remains brahmachari, there is no need of apartment. He can lie down on the street. But as soon as they are joined together, immediately apartment, griha. Then how to maintain the apartment? Then we must have land, because formerly there was no industry. Everyone must produce his own food by tilling the field. So to produce food, he must have some land. The land was available, is still available, one can produce. But they have left that process of livelihood, they are taking to industry. Atha griha, first of all apartment, then kshetra. Kshetra means agricultural land, then some capital, atha griha kshetra. Then as soon as they are married, they, at least woman wants some child, children. Atha griha kshetra suta apta. If you have got very nice apartment and good condition of living, then you invite some friends, please come and see, I am happily living. And one after one, bondage. One after one. Because if you are opulent, you have to show your friends. Otherwise, where is your opulence? If your friends do not come and say, oh, you are so wonderful, yeah, you have got such a nice wife, nice apartment, wonderful. Because in the Kali Yuga, this is wonderful. Everything is mentioned in Shastra. Datyam kutumba bharanam. If one can maintain one wife and some children, he is most expert. Forget Krishna, here is it. Dakyam. Dakyam means expert. He is expert. How he is maintaining? And when I first came, I met one elderly lady, she had a son. So, as Indian, I asked her, why don't you get your son married? She replied, I have no objection. If he can maintain a wife, I have no objection. That means to maintain a wife is a very big job in your country. I have seen it. Of course, when we talk, we must talk freely. That is fact. Formerly, in our father's age, they used to come to foreign countries and they thought it is a great luck to possess one white wife. Yes, they are thinking like that. So all the students who used to come to England for higher studies, and naturally he would carry one white elephant. They used to say, it is not my coined word, they used to say, to maintain European wife, it is maintaining white elephant. So anyway, we have got so many white elephants. So this is the way. Ata griha kshetra suta apta friends. Arjuna was lamenting. My dear Krishna, you are asking me to fight with my relatives, then suppose I become victorious and they are killed, then whom I shall show the kingdom? That was his objection. If everyone is killed on the other side, my friends and relatives, and suppose I become victorious, then whom I shall show my prosperity? So, apta, suto, atat griha, khetra, suta, apta, and vitta, and money. This one after another. First wife, then apartment, then field for agriculture, then friends, then children, and then money, bank balance. In this way, he does not know he is becoming entangled more and more. Atak grihat cheta sutata vittai janasya mohoyam. He is thinking that now everything is settled up and I am very happy. And next day death comes and kicks him out, get out. That he does not understand. That he does not understand. That any moment death can come and kick me out of all these arrangements. And that is ignorance. That is foolishness. So here bhojanam payana mudha naveda agatam antakam. He was 88 years old. So he was busy in maintaining the family, children, everything, but he never thought that death will come all of a sudden without waiting for my settled arrangement. That is the eighth wonder. This question was asked by Dharmaraj to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So what are the wonders? The most wonderful wonder. What is that? So he said, this is the most wonderful thing. What is that? Ahannahani gachanti lokani jama mandiram. Every moment we see that somebody is going to the court of Jamaraj, that means dead. That is our experience, everything. Ahannahani lokani gachanti jama mandiram. Sishastu sitamichanti. Sisha, though he is not yet dead, is still alive, he thinks, I will never die. Your friend is dying, that's all right, but I will live. Your father is dying, no, still I will live. Sisha sigamichanti kimastakdam apapara. This is the most wonderful thing that we have experienced, that my father is dead, my father's father is dead, so I shall also die, my sons will die. We will stay. Where is the struggle for existence and survival of the fittest? He never thinks of it. This is the eighth wonder. Thank you very much.
Om Ajnanatimandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. So first of all, give me your blessings and prayers. I'm feeling a bit nervous because it's been some while that I've done this. And hopefully I don't make any offense. Vanchakalpa tarubhishcha kripa sindhu evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So when I was asked to facilitate Srila Prabhupada's class, I was also told to kind of pause for a moment because the devotees were looking for a particular subject matter that was regarding to book distribution that Srila Prabhupada would speak about, but they couldn't find anything. So eventually, Prabhupada gave class on this particular topic matter. But I was thinking that we're a few days away from the marathon, and many devotees will be going out. Other devotees will be attempting to distribute books from here. So why not get into the book distribution mentality? So what I'm going to do is that Prabhupada spoke about many wonderful things. I have some questions for you all, and you answer those questions. So imagine I am someone on the street or someone that's coming to the temple for the first time. You answer, and then we can discuss and have a reflection on that. So this will get you kind of prepared for the book distribution mentality. So, first of all, before I ask my first question, Prabhupada in the first spoke about how there's a difference between what you do for your family members, like a mother does for a child or child does for a mother, and then there's a difference between what we do for Krishna. So my first question is that, let's play this is good. Yeah, what is the difference between what I want to do for so imagine I come into the temple or whatever, I heard you out. What is the difference between what I want to do for my mom, what I want to do for my father, what I want to do for my family, friends, and what you want to do for Krishna? What is the difference? You say that you do it out of love. I'm also saying that I also do it out of love. Because I love my parents, because I love my friends and family, I like to do things for them. But you're telling me that, so what's the difference? That's the first question. What is the difference between what you do for Krishna, who you claim to be God, and what I do for my mom, who I can actually also see, and she's physically there? Is there a mic? And it doesn't just have to be one answer, it can go around, so everyone are more than welcome to give their answers.
Well, if the mothers if your family are devotees, that's different. If they're not devotees, then you don't get much benefit. So by you serving Krishna, they get more benefit.
Thank you. So you get more benefit by serving Krishna. That's one way of looking at it. Anyone else? But let's try, and when you're answering this, literally imagine you're on the street. People don't know so much about Krishna consciousness. You have to be very practical. You have to really communicate their language. So give it a shot, both from the ladies' side and the gents' side. What's the difference? Okay, you're doing it for Krishna. Govinda Prabhu?
Well, if you love your mother, so if you're not self-realized, you don't actually know who your mother really is. So your mother's, spiritually speaking, your mother's a spirit soul, and she has a particular relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world, different form, and what you see is you're seeing a form around her which isn't actually her. Her subtle body isn't actually her as well. So you've actually, it's an illusion. You're attached to an illusion. Whereas if you're loving Krishna, Krishna is as he's described in the scriptures. So although you may not have much realization, at least you know that what you're conceiving of is actually what Krishna actually is ultimately. And so it's a difference between kama and prema, as the class was explaining. Atmendriya prativancha, satisfaction of one's own self in the terms of extended family, or krishnendriya pratiicha, satisfaction of Krishna senses. And that's the difference between love of Krishna and love of your mother. One will lead to the spiritual world, the other one won't. Unless, as Srinivas points out, your mother is a devotee of Krishna and you dovetail.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Govinda Prabhu. Anyone from the ladies' side?
Oh, okay. So, yeah, well, we all know that we get old, we have disease, and we die. So none of our parents or none of us, none of our children is going to survive that. So the difference between loving something that is temporary or someone who will eventually go is different from loving that which is eternal. So that makes that difference.
Shishi Radha Gokulananda ki, Shishi Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shishi Gaunita ki.
That difference was kind of consequently links to our temporary happiness or eternal happiness. And why don't you try being eternal? Yeah, I mean, that's just a joke, but.
No, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I was actually thinking, just to kind of elaborate on what Govinda Prabhu was saying, that we're a spiritual being. And so therefore, when we describe something as love in this material world, what we're simply saying, okay, I love that body. But then within that body, there's also a spirit. So the other thing with doing something for Krishna and doing something for a normal jiva, a living entity, is that an expectation develops. When we do things for people in this world, there is this subtle expectation that cannot be fulfilled and met with, because we're a spiritual being. I do something for this person because I expect that in return. They satisfy me, I satisfy them. But the thing is, because we're a spiritual being, and the example is the fire and the spark. When we serve Krishna, when we please Krishna, when we do something for Krishna, we naturally feel satisfaction. We naturally feel joy. So that is the difference. One is that you expect a lot, but your expectations are not met with, and then that eventually leads to frustration, anger, bewilderment of intelligence. The other is that you do even the slightest thing for Krishna, but you feel satisfaction because you're parts and parcel of Krishna. I'm sure we've also related to Prayojan Prabhu.
There's a nice verse in the Bhagavad Gita, which after Krishna says, if you offer me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I'll accept it. Very simple thing. And then he goes into another verse where he's saying, offer everything to me. Now that's an interesting 927. Yat karoshi dadasi yat, yat jahosi dadasi yat, yat tapasyasya kunteya, tat karusha madhava parnam. On that, he says, basically, do everything for me. You know, you look after your family, you look after your house, you look after your own body. You actually, it expands. And he says, so do everything for me. That you belong to me, your children belong to me, your wife belongs to me. You know, it's just an amazing verse, that actually. And actually, if you do it as an act of service, an act of worship, whatever you do in the family, in other words, that you direct it for Krishna, if you please your wife, she'll be pleased because you're doing it for Krishna. You're a support system for each other. And that's another side to it, really, that actually whatever you do it for me. He says, so everything can become an act of worship, whether it be in grahasta or brahmachari. Because you've got a support system in a brahmachari, but also the brahmacharis, they support the grihastas in that there's a spiritual paradigm here of shastra and everything here that they may need seek advice on from a neutral person. So there's a mutual support system. If you do everything for Krishna, then it becomes a wonderful thing. It's a life filled with service, nothing else.
Thank you. The next question is, so Srila Prabhupada spoke about the difference between love and lust. So love is a very prominent thing in our society today. You know, people constantly feel like they've fallen in love. They love their girlfriend, they love their boyfriend. You know, sometimes when we try and distribute books, there's a huge sort of tension and conflict because boy wants the book, but girl doesn't want the book. And boy compromises because I love my girlfriend, so I'm not going to take the book. So how would you describe it to Yeah. Sorry. Ooh. What is the difference between love and lust in this material world? What would you say is how would you describe it to someone? Like, I love my girlfriend or I love my boyfriend, but what's the difference between love and lust? How would you describe it? Srila Prabhupada, of course, spoke about it here. So anyone want to have a shot at that?
That lust is self-centered and love is centered on everyone else.
Thank you. It was very simple. Does anyone want to elaborate on that? Govinda Prabhu?
Love is like gold, lust is like iron, or love is like the brilliant sun, and lust is like darkness. These are two examples given by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami.
Thank you. The ladies section.
I think one of the big differences is lust is just all about desires, and it's like a transaction. You know, what can I get from this person? And you're never satisfied. You want more and more. And even if you think you're satisfied, it's not permanent. It doesn't last. And then it goes, and you're miserable, and you look for it in another person. Whereas love is kind of our original nature, and I think that's our connection with Krishna. And you can't really love someone if you don't love Krishna first.
Yes.
You know?
Of course. Thank you so much. So we don't understand what love is. So therefore, how do we know what to direct our love towards? When people say love, I love this person, I love that person, simply what they sort of mean by it is I love what this person does for me, how this person makes me feel. And actually we see it in society how there's a fine line, there's like a fine, thin thread that the moment that someone does not meet with what satisfies me, then I don't love this person anymore. We see that in relationships, we see that in marriage. That's why Srila Prabhupada was saying that a divorce is a high thing in our society today. Because if a wife does not satisfy me, then she doesn't love me. If a husband doesn't satisfy me, then he doesn't love me. So that is the difference. Lust is that we're trying to gratify our senses. Love is that ultimately when we love Krishna, when we understand about Krishna, then we also love all of Krishna's creation. We love everything, we see everything as parts and parcel of Krishna. So you can just tell people, like, okay, you love this person, But if today she was to turn around to you and she would say to you, oh, you know, she doesn't like the same food as you, or she doesn't like, and that, you know, she doesn't like the same, doing the same thing as you. It kind of, you know, people don't want to express it, but it does trigger them. It's like, oh, like, why doesn't she like what I like to do also? At least in our society, it's kind of getting worse and worse and worse. Oh, why doesn't this person agree with me? Let's say that two people have a disagreement, and then there's the third person. And whichever side that third person takes, it's like, why doesn't this person agree with me? You know, don't they love me? They don't care about me? So that's the difference. Love means that we want to manipulate situations. Lust, yeah, in society. But genuine love means that, yeah, we understand Krishna, we love Krishna, and we understand everything is Krishna's creation, and we're a caretaker. So that's the difference. Because we don't have a lot of time, I'll just, the last question. You know, Prabhupada was saying, yeah, how in the Vedic cultures, you know, women only sort of reveal themselves and they're naked for their husband. And then he was kind of going on how in today's modern day society, you know, nakedness is everywhere. And then people think, what's wrong with that? So let me ask you, you know, oh, like the Vedic culture is so centuries ago, we're in the 21st century, it's okay, people can dress how they want to dress, they can do whatever they want to do, what's wrong with that? You know, you guys need to be a bit more modern. So what would you say to that?
Hare Krishna, we used to do a book table on the Isle of Wight, and summer would come. And in winter, everybody's covered up. But in summer, they're not, especially the ladies. And I used to dread when the ladies came over to the table, thinking, oh no, I'm not supposed to be attractive. But actually, one thing I found, when they asked about the book, and I started to talk about the book, I didn't see their body. I became absorbed in what I was trying to tell them about the book. So actually, their body, though they were maybe semi-clad, disappeared because I was absorbed in the service of explaining what was in the book. So it was an interesting thing how the body disappeared when I was talking about Krishna conscious things.
Mm.
So that's the one thing I noticed about distribution when I was out.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prayojan Prabhu. Anyone else? So, what's wrong? What's wrong with our culture? What's wrong with the way we dress? What's wrong with the way we do things? Saturday, rave night. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with it? What would you say? Go on, don't be shy. You're getting you're going out soon, so you're getting ready for book distribution. What would you say? Go on, Kamisa.
Okay, so this is what we're calling the modern age, or more of a cool age. From an objective point of view, it's that things are actually getting worse.
Mm.
From a subjective point of view, or a sensual point of view, things are getting better and better. We can say that it's so easy to engage in a relationship, man and woman, or it's so easy to access liquor, or to access these sensual activities. And this is what we are terming as cool. So because this is Krishna consciousness, and Krishna consciousness is an objective view on whatever is going on in this world. It's a view on exactly what we are supposed to be doing. It's a view on our actual position. What is the eternal position? That which is not ending. I mean, to say that 100 years ago, women dressed, or men, or the situation was much less sensual than it is right now, is to mean that this the way we are going about our culture is quite temporary. And Krishna consciousness is about the permanent, that which is non-changing. So, yeah, you may see it as very, very cool that, you know, we want to wear short dresses and all this, but it's a call on you to actually think about our permanent position. So think about it and see how you can actually apply that in your culture or in your everyday activity, including how you're dressing.
Thank you so much, Kamita Prabhu. And just one thing I want to kind of add to that is Prabhupada actually said when the Brahmanas saw the two Sudras that were mingling together, you know, it kind of completely overwhelmed him. It's amazing how, you know, if we look at our society and we look at the news, we always find that there's always one issue that triggers many issues. So what's wrong with being naked? Because people become lusty. Then with lust, it becomes bewilderment of intelligence, anger, frustration, alcohol, drugs, violence. So it's like, yeah, what's wrong with like taking one cigarette? But then one cigarette turns into 13 cigarette or 14 cigarettes. So it's always when we kind of allow and there's some leniency towards certain things in society, it leads to many other severe things in our society also. So therefore, the Vedic culture, a woman, Prabhupada said, you know, usually is naked and exposes herself in front of her husband. So yeah, there needs to be some culture, some etiquette, some frame of work that we follow. So then therefore we avoid other severe issues in our society and in the world today. And then we see that on a practical level also. A lot of violence always has something to do with some lusty desires in the world.
The Hare Krishnas and the Karmis, they're both singing, dancing and raving. One singing, dancing and raving for Krishna, and the other one's singing, dancing and raving for the bodily platform. So in a way, the Haris are also singing, dancing and raving, and the Karmis also singing, dancing and raving. And that's just their motive is just different. But we know one's pleasurable on a spiritual basis, and one will get them no satisfaction because of the bodily nature.
Thank you. Thank you, Prayojan Prabhu. Govinda Prabhu?
So my question would be, well, you say it's bad to be naked, but what about Hare Krishna pujaris? They don't wear very much. And you say women shouldn't dress to be attractive, but many of them have nice saris and no one complains. So isn't that
I would say what Prayojan Prabhu said, though. That's a good question, though. Unfortunately, what it is that society are not developed with the right consciousness, and that's why Prabhupada then said brahmachari life is good. To get some level of training, to get some level of control, training for the mind, for the consciousness. So therefore, as Prayojan Prabhu said, you know, when he was talking about Krishna and he was presenting the books and stuff like that, it's really a question of what are we absorbed in, our absorption. Unfortunately, in a society, we don't know how to control our mind. We don't know what we kind of get absorbed. We're regularly getting absorbed by multiple of things. And so therefore, the mind is flickery. The mind is as hard to control as the wind. Today we like this, tomorrow we like something else. And so... yeah, we see pujaris that are also naked, not naked, but at least they're not wearing like a top. And then we see ladies in nice saris. But the thing is, when you're in a particular atmosphere, in a particular environment, and you're getting trained in how to utilize this instrument in the best way possible, then you don't get so much affected by those sort of things. You wake up with a mission. You wake up with a purpose. You wake up with a sense of a direction of where you're going in life and what you're doing in life. And so therefore the likelihood, they say that distractions come to those that keep their eyes off the prize. So therefore when you have a prize, when you have a goal, it's very difficult to get distracted. And then, you know, the example is Arjun and Dronacharya, when Arjun was kind of, you know, he had the bow and the arrow and he was kind of shooting at the bullseye, and then Dronacharya asked him, so what do you see? I was like, well, I don't see anything, I just see the target. It's like, okay, then shoot. But then he asked everyone else, what do you see? I see the bird, this and this and that. So that's the difference. Here, we're getting trained. We have a focus, and that focus helps us to remain sort of, to remain chaste to what it is that we're working towards. But in the outside world, it isn't like that. I try to give it in the most practical way. Thank you so much. Antara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nittai Gaura Pramanande.